Hello, and thank you for calling the Higher Self Hotline, your direct line to the divine. You've been led here by your inner knowing, and you've arrived right on cue. I'm your host, Zoey Greco, and together we'll make the ethereal earthly, helping you consciously embody your spiritual knowing and most authentic self. Please listen carefully to the following options. To discover how to fulfill your soul's purpose, press 1. To unlock infinite abundance in life, love, and career, press 2. To heal your mind, body, and spirit, press 3. To speak with your personal spirit guides, press 0. Please hold while we connect you to your highest timeline. Hello, Divine Darlings, and welcome back to the Higher Self Hotline. I'm your host, Zoey Greco. Thank you so much for joining me today. And you guys know what it is. It's the first episode of the month that you're getting, which means it is the numerology forecast. This is your numerology episode for the month. And I am once again joined by co-yapper of the century, Amelia Elsie Buxton. Amelia, welcome. And thank you for being here. Of course, we also know you as the Velvet Page on Instagram. I've been hearing that people are popping over and peeking at you, checking things out. Amelia, thanks for coming back. Thanks for being here again. Welcome back to the Higher Self Hotline.
I'm so happy to be here. And when you were like, you know what it is? I was like, you remember that song by Wiz Khalifa, Black and Yellow?
Yeah.
Numerology. But then,
yes.
I nearly didn't say it because I was like, it doesn't work, but I'm going to say it.
It does. It does work because we choose what we embrace. Amelia, I'm so happy to be having this conversation with you. But before we get into the numerology forecast and dive into all things numbers, because I want to talk a little bit about not only the collective numerology of May within the grander context of the collective year one, I kind of want to talk a little bit about my personal year, your personal year, because I feel like we are really deeply in alignment with the themes and the flow. And I feel like any 8s and 3s out there are going to benefit from the conversation as well. However, before we get into those things, I kind of want to do a little personal catch up. Nothing too long, nothing too big, but I'd love to hear a little bit about what's been happening in Amelia Town. What's going down in Amelia Town?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first half of the month was taken up by realizing that much of my routine that I have crafted over several years was all working towards a particular dream, which was living abroad, working abroad, having a place abroad. At the start of this month, I got my residency approved in Mexico. So now—
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So I now officially live in Mexico, which is crazy. If you would have told me that 5 years, I wouldn't have believed you. And so I was having this feeling at the start of this month where, like, obviously I'm starting to write my book and realizing that the routine that I have spent so many years structuring was for a different dream. And so it took me a hot minute to kind of really place that, because I was like, why is this new goal I have not fitting into my current reality? And it's like, well, because your current reality isn't for that. So I felt really off kilter for the first half of that month. And then, but I feel better now. I'm getting there. I'm creating new routines. And then towards the
end— May I reflect something about that?
Please do.
So I can't help but notice in a collective year one, in a collective month 5 that April was, for you to be confronted with changes that need to be made, 5, the number of change, toward this new thing that you're initiating, the life of an author and a writer, it's actually quite apropos, because basically what we're seeing is the thing that you're now initiating in your life has changed. The goals that you once set for yourself to live abroad, be abroad, have a life abroad, those goals have been met. I remember just in the time that I've known you, living in Mexico as a resident and having your own place was the dream. This was everything that you wanted and more. And now you're hosting your girls' nights. You've got your sacred space. You are living the dream that you set. You set the goals and the goals have been achieved. So it only makes sense that you would feel inspired to change those goals, to make a different— it's time to make a different choice. Those things have been checked off. And now that you have this new thing that you're initiating, the life of an author, it only makes sense, especially in a collective month 5 where we are everything gets turned upside down. Like the universe intervenes and says, oh, actually, like there's a different path, there's a different opportunity, there's a different way. Also, the number of freedom, novelty, change, right? Like that you would feel inspired to make those changes. So as you were speaking, I was like, right on schedule, right on time, like as the universe would decree. And to be honest with you, I've had some similar things, some similar feelings. Like I've been going through something very similar. So I really resonate with what you just shared. So I wanted to reflect that to you before you continued, because I couldn't let that amazing numerology opportunity pass us by without saying something about it.
No, I'm so grateful that you said that, because it's easy when you are, and I'm wondering if listeners resonate to this, when you're moving through something, we listen to the readings, we look at the astrology, we do all of the things, and yet when it's happening to us, we're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yes.
So it's good to have the reminder of like, what's happening is in the collective energy. And the only other piece to add is that towards the end of April, I don't know, I'm curious to know what your thoughts have been on this, but like a lot of friends, including myself, they've either been rewarded financially or maybe hit financially. Mine, it wasn't too much of a hit, but it was a hit. Like my fridge broke, had to buy a new fridge, like go through all of that I wasn't expecting. Whereas I have friends who are given job opportunities that like took them to the other side of the country for extra money, which I'm so happy about. But I'm like, I wonder if there's something collectively going on financial in the latter part of April, because it's just a theme that's come along like around the people near me.
That's a really interesting question. I think anytime that money pops up in our lives in some sort of different way or in some sort of magnified sense, like where there's a magnification of influx or a magnification of outflow, I think it's just a deeper invitation for us to become more present to the flow of finances in our life. I don't think there's anything, and maybe someone else would disagree with me. We might see some more of this astrologically versus numerologically, but I think it's just an invitation, during a global economic shift, right? That like certain things are experiencing enhancement and certain things are experiencing, negative fluctuation. And it really has to do, it creates an opportunity for us to explore our relationship to finances and revisit the way that we relate to our resources, which I do think money is not necessarily a 5 thing. However, it's a number of change. And so if there's something to change in our lives, it's going to pop up and it's going to become present for us. So that's kind of what is reflected to me around that. But I think we're just also living in, we're living in a time where like literally everything is being called a recession indicator. Everything from the way we're styling our hair to like the things available in the grocery store, like everything's a recession indicator. And so I think because of that, we are also, in a collective year one, we are initiating and also rebuilding. So our relationship to all things is under examination, under scrutiny, and under reassessment. So that's kind of what flows to me as I think about that.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about you, but I'm not like, I am someone that if something is happening, like if I've had a financial hit, I know some things just happen and it just is what it is. But I am also like, okay, well, what is the lesson here? Because I don't want to live in the negative mindset of like, crap, I've just lost like hundreds of dollars doing this. And what it's translated into is me looking at investment accounts, because I've had money just sitting in a bank account for however long, because I'm not financially, well, I am financially literate, but not super, super literate. And so I don't know about you, Zoe, but like whenever anything kind of hits or negative happens, I do want to be like, okay, I'll sit with it, but then let me alchemize it. I don't just want to sit and be, okay, it is what it is. I'm like, no, what does it mean?
I feel like that is a particularly astute response to it, because that's kind of what I was talking about too, is like, it's not necessarily that you have to take responsibility for your fridge breaking. Like things do just happen. It's not that there's necessarily a lesson to take away from it, but it's more that there's just an opportunity to go, oh, yeah, I haven't been as present to the way that I hold, build, sustain, spend, experience money. And it's giving you an opportunity to think, oh, how might I like to do that differently? So I love that you phrase that as like alchemizing it, because I think spiritual people often look, not just often, but almost always in my experience, like seek some sort of lesson. And I think that there's a very negative connotation to the idea of a lesson, right? It's like, well, what are what can I learn from this? What's the takeaway? And in reality, just like listening to those like those words, like they don't have to hold that connotation. Like, what can I learn? What is a takeaway? And it doesn't have to be this universal, like omnipotent slap on the wrist. Like it can actually be just like a new perspective, a new lens that's been placed in front of you, an invitation to think of something differently and engage with it more consciously. And I feel like that is the way that I like to think of things. Like I don't ever feel like the universe is testing us or that there's some sort of like huge cosmic lesson. It's more about like, here's an opportunity. How do you want to meet the opportunity? Everything is just an opportunity. So I think there's something really beautiful and really powerful in that, actually. And I love your use of the word alchemize, because it's true. Like if you have an opportunity, the desire, I think, would be to navigate it into, alchemize it into something supportive versus something that feels punitive.
Yeah. Align. What about you, girl? What's been going on in your month?
Woo! Okay. Well, April was very full with social and emotional obligations. My husband's best friend from childhood, you guys have heard me talk about him, Ethan. My husband's best friend, also Ethan, born 10 days apart, best friends their whole lives, don't have memories without each other. He now lives across the street from us. They wrote to each other on their missions. Like their bromance is unmatched. Like their brotherly love is unmatched. These I don't know two closer sweetie pies. So my husband's best friend, Ethan, needed open heart surgery at 36 years old. He had a condition, a mechanical condition, and his wife is one of my very best friends in the world. And we just felt like there was no way we couldn't be there. And he did a lot of research about the procedure that he needed and what needed to happen. And he chose a physician in New York. So we ended up flying all the way to New York, which as you guys know, how many fucking times have I said it? I'm a born and raised New Yorker. Mm-hmm. So it felt good to be back in the element of like the place from which I hail. And I saw some friends. I saw some family. I got to see my Grandma Lucille, our number one fan of the show. So that was amazing. And more personally, there have been some, and I want to speak lightly because my grandma listens to the show. There's been some changes in her health and her aptitudes for things. And we actually had an incredible visit. She was 100%. It felt so good to see her. I cried when I sat down next to her, and I cried when I left because I just felt like, oh, I live so far away and I don't get enough of this. So that was really beautiful. And, I got to see people I love and be in the space and be in the city. But our primary focus for being there was being there with Ethan and his wife, Selena. And he's from a big Mormon family. So his parents came out, his siblings were all taking turns coming and spending time. And even one of my husband's brothers came, and because they're like brothers too, they all grew up together. And it was really emotionally intense, actually. I spoke to my container students and I said, guys, I'm going to take the week off. I'm going to unplug. As you know, Amelia, I also was out of the business. I spent a full week away, and it was interesting to try to explain to people, like, it wasn't a vacation. Like, I was not on vacation. I was basically like an emotional support animal for a week. And that felt really important. It felt really good. Like when Ethan and I got married, his best friend, Ethan, we'll call him other Ethan for the sake of understanding, because I don't want to like dox him fully, but other Ethan, was like, Ethan and I were planning to elope, and his best friend was like, I'm going to fucking be there. I don't care who else. You can not invite whoever you want. I need to be there. And it kind of felt very much the same when he was like, yeah, I have to go to New York for surgery. We were like, we're going to be there. And so we sat in the waiting room for 13 hours while he was back there. And it was high emotions and it was high stakes, and it ended up being a life-saving procedure for him, which was so, important. Basically, they got in there and found that there was more not working than they thought, and they ended up having to do more, but it saved his life. Like, it was just so, I haven't really been faced with something like that in quite some time. And so it felt really important to be there, and it felt really good to be there. And so because I then, took a week-long break from my life, coming back into my life just literally 2 days ago, I am just trying to adjust and like find my footing and find my grounding. And I really tried to like start off the week on a high note, like leaning into my journaling, my walks, like just any way that I could kind of recenter and plant my feet on the ground and just find some stability before hitting the ground running back into full-time, mentorship and business ownership and all sorts of things. And I think there's something really powerful that I'm extracting from the experience, which is I can hold big things, like bigger things than I thought, and I can hold them at once. And it just felt like an opportunity for me, right? Because there's a million things that the other people in this experience are probably taking away. But for me, the takeaway was I can do this. And telling myself that I can't is a disservice to myself. And so it was just finding an extra layer of strength and fortitude and capability and like the word I'm looking for is maybe like fuel, like finding like something inside of me to like keep me going from one thing to the next. And I felt the stretch of that change in capacity, but I also felt like the growth, like there was really growth there. And I feel grateful for the opportunity to be there for people that I love and learn something about myself in the process.
And what a gift to have a friendship so close or a relationship so close, because he's more like family, that you have the opportunity to show up in that way. Like, I didn't know that. I thought they lived in New York. I didn't know they lived across the road from you, which by the way, we need to bring back living across the street. Like, my best friend lives across the hall. Like, we need to do that more. Being able to have community on your doorstep and really cultivating a close, tight-knit community in that way it's a beautiful thing to experience, and to be able to be there for your people like that.
Yeah. I mean, other Ethan had never been to New York. So we spent the first couple days, just trying to get his mind off of the procedure and like doing things, seeing things, like being tourists. And it was, it was a beautiful thing to, obviously we're close to them. We're obviously close. Otherwise we wouldn't have gone. But I think this really cemented another layer of depth. And like, I think anytime that you can activate or like act on your devotion towards someone, like whenever you can be in devotion towards someone that you care about, it really is a gift that goes two ways. It felt so nourishing to hold people that we love. Like when the surgery was over, and we had been there for a very long time and, not gotten word. And it was a very intense, stressful day. Like there's a lot of details that like aren't mine to tell fully, but like it was a difficult day. Ethan and Selena and I walked across the street to Central Park and just like sat under a cherry blossom tree and just like took some deep breaths together and really like looked at each other and we're like, okay, he's okay. We're okay. Like we can take a deep breath. Cause it's been, 6 months that we've known that maybe he needed to have this procedure and that there's been all this discussion about it. And, as much as I'm trying to be careful not to like reveal too much about someone else's medical journey, I spent months crying about this, talking about it in therapy, like crying in restaurants. Like this was also an emotional journey for us because we love him so much. Like he's one of the most important people in our lives. And I think when you can show someone that with your actions, it's like really a thing that it's a bonding experience. And so I feel closer to them. And I feel like such depth in the love. And then to be able to cap that trip off with like time with my dad and seeing my grandma for the first time in quite some time. And you never know what other opportunities you're going to get to spend time with the people you love. Like, it felt really good to be in devotion to my relationships in that way. And also to just find, like, again, that extra layer of like capability and aptitude in myself to hold those things. So all in all, yeah, like it was heavy, and like I don't think I've shaken off the density yet of that. Plus I'm also like day 2 of my cycle, so I'm like I'm emotional. I'm feeling all the things. I think maybe even like viewers can like sense, maybe you as yourself, Amelia, can sense like I haven't totally shaken off the density of that. And it's not so much density as it is like gravity. I'm starting to realize it's like I'm just feeling my humanity. Like I'm feeling the weight of my being on the earth. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a human, and humans have health scares, and humans have grandmothers, and humans have relationships and highs and lows and this and that. And I mean, also being in the city where like it's just full of humans. Like there's such a, there's a density literally to like, you're packed on the subway body to body with people. Like my face is in people's armpits and butts because of how short I am. Like there was, something about that. And I think I'm still processing it, but I feel like I was quite prepared for the themes of a collective month 6 that were, I always feel the echoes of things before they arrive fully. I think a lot of listeners probably relate to that experience. You may yourself relate to that experience, Amelia. I think when you're a conscious, intuitively activated person, whether you know it or not, you I always equate it to like the way an animal senses an earthquake before it happens. So they like lay down on the ground. I always feel things like a wave, just like I feel the wave coming before the wave arrives. So I think the themes of 6, which are relationships, responsibility, nurturing, caring for others. It's the number of the heart. I could feel, family. I could feel that very much so in the weeks leading up to the month. And I'm curious, listeners, if you want to leave comments and let us know, were you already feeling some of these themes yourself before the month of May began? Because it's only just beginning. And I feel like for me, at least, I was already getting a taste of some of that.
And I think like what more appropriate place to feel your humanness than New York City, Manhattan, where of course there's Central Park, but let's remove that singular nature within that city of brick, where you are surrounded by brick. So everybody is so in the 3D, so in their bodies. I'm not saying that it's not a spiritual place, but I am saying that for someone like you who lives in the desert day to day, going to that type of environment and going through what you went through as a supporter of your friends and your family, like it makes a bunch of sense that it kind of sends your spiritual system into a bit of a loop, into like a weird flow. You're like, whoa.
Well, it's also the site of my birth, right? So it's like, I just turned 35 last month. And so like I turned the age that my mother was when she had me and returned to the place of my birth. Ooh. And I think it felt like a real portal. There were a lot of things about turning 35 that I think I really found interesting. And I'm curious, Amelia, if you can relate to this. I feel like this is clearly something that I've worked with clients with for years, but haven't really encountered myself, and actually recorded something about it today. When I turned 35, it was like walking face first into a wall of all of these patriarchal, like, programming that I've endured about the expiration date of women. Of like, at 35, you're considered a geriatric pregnancy if you're pregnant. Like it's, it's like, yeah, I know, right? Like there's so many ideas about like patriarchy prioritizes pubescence, which I think is something that like we're just starting to really understand the origins of, as we're exploring the Epstein files. We're understanding that the stores that we grew up shopping at, like Limited Too, were owned by actual fucking pedophiles. Like understanding that like girlhood was shaped within patriarchy. And as much as like you and we love girlhood, you know, we also have to contend with like, how was it created by these outside forces, which to me does feel very like connected to the themes of a collective year one. The idea of like, it's almost like a wake up where you're like, okay, we just dealt with that. How are we going to deal with it differently? And so for me personally, I was able to ignore this rhetoric because I don't actually personally believe in it. So like all of the patriarchal rhetoric about like women's expiration dates and like how long we have to seek visibility and ubiquity and fame and recognition and or family or pregnancy or career or purpose or whatever the fuck, whatever we want, you have to get it before 35. Otherwise you're never going to. And so according to patriarchy. And so I had to like really kind of like confront that for the first time because like I said, I've always rejected it and I could avoid it because I wasn't 35. But when I turned 35, it was like all of the subliminal programming that had been like absorbed through my consciousness by like osmosis of just existing in this society. I really had to like confront face to face because I walked right into it and was like, ew, I believe things about myself that I don't even actually believe. Like I believe there's some part of me that clearly is like having to confront this story or like this narrative, even though I inherently reject it. And so I had to consciously like extract it from myself. And I feel like that's what we're doing on a collective level right now is spending this year moving through all of these different themes of like, okay, we're starting over. What narratives do we want to live by? What stories do we want to tell? What programming do we want to operate from? And I feel really grateful for like all the ways that my personal numerology is really like serving me this year and allowing me to rewrite narratives and stories about all sorts of things, including the things that I didn't expect or like didn't expect to encounter and didn't know that I was carrying.
Oh my God, I feel so much of that when you were saying, this might come across a certain way. This is good for me to know now, because when you were like, I'm curious if you felt the same. I'm like, well, I'm at the age of 30 where all I'm thinking about is when am I going to find a boyfriend? That's what comes to my mind. So that to say, you know, my sister turned 35 this year as well. So this is all really good intel to have because especially going into a collective month 6, so much around love and relationships is coming up in my brain.
I think too, the reason I asked is because yes, I do know we have that like age gap. However, with 30, it's the beginning of the end is the story they tell us. Yeah. It's like everyone in every show cries on their 30th birthday. I mean, I guess the only one we had was 13 going on 30 where she was like, I'm happy to be 30, which thank God someone was doing it. Right. But like, I think about Rachel Green on Friends who like couldn't, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, we have so many examples of like, when you turn 30, you have this crisis because you're aware that like your time is running out. And I feel like I personally was like, fuck that noise. And so that's why I didn't expect at 35 that I was like, wait, what the literal fuck? Like, I'm sorry, what do I secretly like subliminally believe? That's kooky and I don't claim it. But what you're saying is really important, Amelia, because there is also this gap, like this gap in between men and women right now, but like not that we're speaking just to, you know, heteronormative relationships, but like there is a growing disparity. And the majority of my friends in their 30s are single and, you know, exploring singlehood. And for anyone that is single or seeking love, I think that this collective month 6 of May is going to be extremely informative for you. And I think maybe we should just dive on into it because
Please.
Is there something you've been overthinking lately? A decision you keep circling, a situation that feels a little confusing, or a moment where you just wish you could ask a psychic what's actually going on? How'd I know? I must be psychic or something. One of the things I've learned from doing this work for years is that a lot of the time, people are already sensing the truth of a situation. They just want a little perspective, confirmation, or guidance so they can trust themselves enough to move forward. And that is exactly what the Let Me Ask My Psychic segment is for. Listeners send in their questions, and I choose a few to respond to right here on the podcast, offering intuitive insight into whatever situation they're navigating. And the best part is that submitting a question is completely free. You're welcome to write in about a decision you're trying to make, how you want to show up in the world and be seen, a shift that might be happening in your life, a relationship dynamic you're trying to understand, or honestly, any situation where you could use a little more clarity and advice directly from me. If you've been dying to ask a psychic something, head to zoegreco.com/hotline and send your question my way. If I select it, we'll explore it together here in an upcoming episode of the show, and who knows, the answer you've been looking for might show up right here next week. Tune in to find out. The month of May is a collective month 6 within a collective year 1. Some places, by the way, you'll hear this like articulated as a universal year and a universal month. I just resonate with collective. It's what I use and how I roll. So you may encounter it in different language out in the world, just letting you know it's the same thing. There's no difference between the two.
We're not the numerology grammar police.
Yeah, exactly. We're here for the themes and the deeper meaning. So call it whatever you want, baby. But, when we think about a collective year 1, what we're again talking about is initiation. If you think about this in terms of of astrology, like Aries energy and 1 energy are very, very much one and the same. And it really is a year of starting fresh and starting new. First of all, what do you want to create? So I was resonating very much, Amelia, with what you were sharing in the beginning about my routines and my lifestyle are supporting different goals than what I actually have now. So we're all collectively experiencing that. Side note, Amelia, you were in a personal month 7 in April, which is where you do all of that existential deep consideration. So you 100%, like earlier you were like, I'm in a personal year 3, but I don't know. Girl, please. I'm about to rock your shit about your personal year 3 because you are so personal year 3. It's actually crazy. But I digress. In this year 1, we're really asking ourselves, what do I want and how do I want it? How do I want to approach it? How do I want to get it? What do I really want it to look like? Like if I'm going to start something, I want to set the tone. And what I would love to remind you guys, I've said this before already, but you're never, not in this episode, but this season, you're never gonna get it 100% on you're in a collective year 1. As a collective, we're starting over. We're babies. We're just born. We don't fucking know anything. So if you think you have to plant all the seeds and plant them properly and know exactly how a garden works and which plants can be next to each other, just fucking cut that out. It's not serving you. It's way too much pressure to put on manifestation. It's way too much pressure to put on initiation. Get used to exploring, get used to being curious, get used to trying things on, trying things out, and you're just learning to walk. As a collective, we're just learning to walk again. So for you to expect the most of yourself, respectfully get a grip. Respectfully change your perspective on that. And as we enter into a collective month 6, we are now re-examining and reinitiating around themes of responsibility, service, caregiving, love, devotion, responsibility, obligation, martyrdom is the shadow of this number. We really need to understand all that we're being invited to hold this month in a collective year 1, which is not just initiatory. 1 is also very independent. So we're exploring the theme of relation and service and love and connection and responsibility and family and home. It's a number of home. If you think about the root chakra, what is the root chakra responsible for? It's that plus the heart. So understanding what is being asked of you to hold during a time that is very overarchingly individualistic, which is overarchingly very singular. So I'm excited to discuss, I think, a little more deeply those themes, but I'm curious so far, what is being evoked for you, Amelia? Because I feel I can see your gears turning.
Just definitely the reminder that when we are in a year 1, it means we're starting. It doesn't mean we need to be at the best at what we're starting at. And I remember that in areas of book writing, of course, I don't expect to be the best. I don't even know how to write a book until right now. But then when I'm thinking in the realms of how I'm dipping into the dating world after several years of not doing it, like I'm just a baby. I'm just figuring it out. And I was just voice noting my friend earlier today, like, I am so fucking sick of it being complicated. But then I'm also just like, yeah, but you've been doing this for 3 months out of a year after several years of not, honey. Like, you know, you're gonna have to learn how to dip your toes in it. So that was a good reminder that came through.
That's really an astute like reception of that and a really beautiful application of those ideas. The other thing I would say too, I just got in from having matcha with one of my friends who is 33 and she's in her first relationship after a really long relationship that she exited. And has always been a very hyper independent person. Like I always say, she's my wild horse. Like you cannot nail her down. And if you're going to, you better really be fucking worth it. And we were talking about how like she's struggling with, you know, cohabitating and like, you know, they just went on a trip together and that was like really, they also were like working. So it was kind of intense and they were kind of working together for the first time. And so she was like, yeah, I'm, you know, I'm feeling annoyed. I'm feeling, you know, like there's friction. And I was like, yeah, cause you're very one in all things that you do. Like you are independent. Even like we were talking about how her last partner was also super independent, so much so that like it turned her avoidance into like insecurity, like insecure attachment. Cause it was like, well, I like being independent, but I don't want you to want to be independent from me. Like I want to be the one that wants to be independent. So I think it's important too, to remember that like for someone like yourself who just entering the dating field, you know, you are someone who travels solo, lives solo, picked up and packed up your life and moved to another country completely by yourself. Like you work for yourself, with yourself. Like you are in very many ways a very independent person. So beginning to work toward and embrace, not codependence, but like interdependence, you know, like shared dependence is also going to be an adjustment. And the themes of the year are going to exacerbate some of those qualities. Like, I'm not surprised that my friend is like feeling closed in on by her partner because especially in a year that magnifies the oneness in her chart, you know? And you, my dear, are also a birthday number 1. So you got to be in charge. And yet it's those very like strong leadership sort of like beings who want to be led more than anything, but don't know how to give the control to somebody to like let them do it. We see that a lot with ones. It's like, I want you to be in charge, but I need you to first prove that you can be, and then I'll take my hands off the reins, even though what I really want is to just fucking let go. And so that's going to be an interesting thing for people to navigate, is like their relationship to control during a universal year 1, like a collective year 1, collective month 6.
Yep. I'm taking it all in.
Yeah. You know, I think the other thing too that we're really going to be exploring collectively on this level is not just how we choose to experience romantic love, but also like how we choose to show up in our relationships in service to others. Like, I think for most of the people that listen to this show, we tend to have a vibe over here at the Higher Self Hotline HQ where we are maybe overgivers. Maybe we've done a bit of overgiving, a bit of self-sacrifice, a bit of self-abandoning without even knowing. Like, one of my clients just today was like, no one will ever be able to convince me that leaving my relationship wasn't the best thing I could have done for myself, because I had no idea inside of that relationship how much I was self-sacrificing. And I was like, ooh, like, yes, sometimes we can only see that from the position of the 1. So in the 6 energy, which is all about nurturing, caregiving, let yourself be a little bit in the 1 energy and examine the way that you show up in relationships and the way that you show up for others from the individual. Like, what is the cost of that to you? Like, one of my other clients is a provider. We'll call her that. She's a practitioner of some kind. Again, don't want to, share too much about someone that's not me, but she is a provider of some kind. And when she first got to me, I was like, babe, you need to make your workload lighter and change your prices and like set yourself free. Like you are a slave to service, and that's not the same. Like servitude and service are not the same. Oof. And like truly they're not. And she like couldn't hear it. It was like, well, no, then I'm giving up on these people, or I'm not like, I should, she basically felt like if she wasn't breaking her back, she wasn't bending far enough.
Oh my gosh.
And first of all, that's a wound I know well. Like I had to move through that wound to step into the work that I'm doing currently, like the container work that I'm doing. But she already like 3.5 months in, 4 months in is like, oh, I'm over that. Like I'm ready. I'm ready to claim these things because we let it come to the surface. We let it come to light. And that is what we need to do sometimes, is like stand in the position of singularity, stand in the position of self, which can feel very selfish to those of us who are martyrs, or overgivers or people pleasers, any of the lot. When you give yourself permission to do the thing that you're so afraid to do, which is self-prioritize, when you let yourself own and stand in the energy of one, your perspective is a lot more clear. Because just like my client was saying, it's not until I got out of the relationship that I could see what it cost me to stay in it. And it's like, yeah, you do need to self-focus and self-prioritize. And this is going to be a really beautiful time for us to examine, how do we show up for others? And is there some part of that relates to the self that needs to change? Sometimes we may discover that we're not giving enough in certain spaces or certain places, that we are in a deeper state of receptivity. And is that something we want to address? Is that a consistent imbalance, or just one of the pendulum swings of life? There's so much to ask yourself during this time. And I think that level of connection, it's like basically the whole month is like a journaling prompt. It's like this is the theme that I'm exploring right now for these next 30 days. And when you really commit to those themes and let yourself fully step into it just for a season, it doesn't have to be you don't have to make feeling selfish a lifestyle if you don't want to, but you may find that stepping into self-focus and self-prioritization feels pretty fucking good. And you actually kind of want to stay there, but like every month, these numerological themes give us an opportunity to try something on. And there's this added layer to it, which is the nuance of your personal month. So for you, Amelia, it was like, in April, we were looking at, the personal relationship that you have to, it really actually what yours was like a self-examination. Maybe it was a little existential. We'll call it, 7 is a very existential time. Like the existential dread of kind of the misalignment that you then were picking up on, you were able to pick up on in that time. And then your relationship to the 5 was, how do I want to change it? What changes are being asked of me? What changes do my life now require of me if I want to keep moving in a certain direction? And by stepping into the 7 energy that your personal month was, you were able to give yourself the space to do that deep introspective work, to go into that hermit space, ask yourself those questions, and really assess, like do the work, right? And again, like you were saying, when you're in it, you don't know what's happening. But that's like the beauty of numerology to me, is like, from the outside, bestie, you're clearly XYZ. Like you're clearly doing this, and that. So I love it. And sometimes I have to do this for myself too, and be like, okay, well, like, what if we talk about it? Like, if you were telling it to somebody else, that really, really helps. Like it's that separation,
Oh, it resonates so much. Just knowing like the energy we're going into in a 6, because like kind of like a long story short, like in Latin American culture, my mom's Dominican, my dad's British, but in Latin American culture there is, and this is a very long story short, there is an expectation to respect and support your elders and your country to a certain degree, and whether they're in your family or outside of your family. And something came up quite recently where I was feeling a bit like, oh, this expectation, it's pressure. And there's loads of context to it, but I was talking to my sister and I was like, but I'm expected to do this, but I'm not wired that way. And my sister was like, okay, but playing devil's advocate, what if you did try and wire that way? Like what is the problem with wiring that way? And she wasn't saying it to add more pressure. She was like, but why is it a problem? And there's loads of other pieces around like my independence, my codependency, all of this. But it is an interesting reflection for me of like, you know what, you're right. Like, I don't know. It's true. I don't know why I would like my brain to be wired to respect elders or the expectations in a certain way so that they don't feel like expectations or pressure. And of course, I'm speaking into something that isn't like a huge thing that goes completely against my values. It's something that's like a little tweak to the way that my brain works. And I think, curious if people listening are from a multiracial family, because it's like the British person in me doesn't wire to certain aspects of the Latin American version. But all of that to say, everything that you're speaking to is relevant to themes that are coming up for me for the month ahead.
Well, also, what you just said is like so important. And I'm honestly feeling so white right now. I'm like, I'm feeling my, like the ignorance of my whiteness for like not even like acknowledging that 6 is also an ancestrally healing number. Like it's a number of ancestral healing. And it's like, because it's about the heart and family, like, and it's the nurturer. And like, how do we, not just as like female bodied people or like female identifying people, but like as, daughters of daughters of daughters of daughters of like, you know what I mean? Like daughters of mothers who are daughters of mothers. Like there's something so, ancestral about 6. Actually, the flow lines of 6, when you talk about it in numerology, we look at the flow lines of numbers because that tells us like the theme of the number a bit. So 6 is like the flow line is a pregnant woman. It's like someone with like a pregnant belly. And it is the number of like the maternal, the nurturer, the caregiver. Like when I see 6 in someone's chart, I'm automatically like, oh, you have a problem with overgiving. Like you have a problem. And it's not, and the thing I think that's so important about that is like to give, when you're overgiving, it's like the flow is going one direction. It does not allow for receptivity. So for those of us that are like, why am I not able to get what I want? I would highly encourage you to examine if you're overgiving. If your cup is always turned up, if it's always turned down, pouring out, nothing is going to come in. So we can't just have our cup turned over. Like we have to leave it right side up. Like there needs to be space for that, which is kind of what I was saying about the idea of like sitting in the 1 energy, examining the 6 energy, looking at the 6 from the 1. And there is very much something about that when it comes to ancestral healing, like looking at the lineage, looking at like, the 6 from the 1. And I do feel like we are in an era where ancestral healing needs to be brought to the forefront because we are on the precipice of repeating, not just the precipice, we are actually in the active repetition of horrific, inhumane mistakes that we have made. And we're already doing that again. So for us to kind of really examine the 6, really look at history from a place of information, but also like looking at our own personal history and then our own lineage, the history of our lineage, like on a collective scale and an individual scale. This is really a time for us to like learn from the past. Like that shit happened already. There is information there. You know what I mean? And as a person who I don't live in the past. I don't think of the past. I'm not like one to dwell there. If I'm saying that, then you should really listen to me in my humble opinion, because it's not something that I naturally lean toward, but it feels extremely, extremely important right now.
Yep. I'm aligned with it. I'm ready to like lean all the way in, especially knowing that it's a theme that's present in the collective.
Now that you guys have heard a bit about this, if you're interested to understand how these themes are going to impact you as you progress and move through this month. Your horoscopes are already up on my Instagram, and they've already been sent out to your inbox like a couple days ago. So if you didn't see it already, go read your horoscope, your numerological horoscope for the month of May, because there is some important information in there about like how I use your attitude number, which is the day and month of your birth added together and reduced to a single digit, to assess what your personal month is going to be. And so I talk about like the themes of the personal month in the greater context of the collective energy. So if you want to know how this month is going to particularly affect your numerology, definitely go read those and check those out. And also, please comment and let me know like how it resonates, or if you have questions about it. I'd really like to have a conversation. Like, I love nothing more than just tearing into people's numerology. Like, I get it now. Like, I get the astrology girlies, because I was always like, yeah, that seems cool. Like, yeah, I want to know. And it's like, no, I really want to know. Like, your numerology is like getting a peek into your soul. So ask me questions if you have questions. If you're like, oh, this is or isn't resonating, like, let's get into why. Because when we first started this conversation, Amelia was like, yeah, I'm in a personal year 3, but I'm not feeling it. And I was like, girl, you're wrong. I'm sorry, but you are mistaken. And again, it's that bird's eye view.
And this is real quick. This is coming from someone that when I first started hearing about numerology, I think, so I'm a life path 8, and I believe that I heard about numerology in a year 8, and everything resonated from the year prior, year 7, all the way through to last year, year 2. But I think it's just because I don't know enough about 3s and like what it means. So when I got to a 3, I was like, oh, okay, like change and this and that. But I guess as I'm saying it, I'm like, yeah.
Okay. If I may, I want to rip into this for a second, because if anyone else has 3 in your chart, like, I'm a birthday number 3. So 3 is like, that's my bitch. Like, she's my girl, and no one is going to speak on her name like that. Like, no, like, put some respect on her name right now, Amelia, because and I say this with love, right? Like, it's not your job to be a numerology expert. It's my job. So I want to talk about the 3 for a second, because the 3 is like, okay, I'm going to tell you some things about me that will make you that will help you make the, that will make you understand this more easily. So I built myself a stage to sit on. That's some 3 shit. You know what I mean? Actually, I made a man do it for me. My sweet, perfect angel of a husband built this for me.
If you're not watching it right now.
Yes. Or on Spotify, if you want to watch this on video. 3 is a star. 3 is the star. She is in the spotlight. She is the moment. Like, when I go places, people ask to take pictures with me, not because they know me, but because they just really think I'm like, I look cool, which is like actually crazy to me. Like, that's such a funny, like, almost like if I was like a character of some kind or something. Like, there's a vibe. Like, I can't explain it. That's the 3 in me. Like, she's magnetic. People just, we walk into a room and they're like, the bitch has arrived. Like, she's here, and she brought the whole vibe with her. And for you, 3 is also the number of communication, expression. Like, there's always a microphone in front of my mouth. You know what I mean? Like, and I believe you should fucking listen to me, because I have something to say.
I love it.
3 is the number of expression. It's the throat. It's communication. It's blue. It's like facilitating. It's teaching. It's like choosing to take what is inside of you and putting it into this world. And when there's 3 in your chart, people can't help but look at you. Like, you've got star quality. So this is a year to really embrace the spotlight. And you, Miss Thing, who is literally writing a fucking book in a year 3, like a personal year 3, collective year 1, starting something new that has to do with expression, like, excuse you. And then on top of that, the idea that you are like totally killing the game on social media. Like, you started an entire series, like you started your own show on social media, basically. And like, you can't get more 3 than that, baby. Like, what are you even talking about? So the idea that like, that you're doing all the 3 things without even knowing that you're doing it, that's the shit about numerology that lights me the fuck up, because I'm like, oh, this shit got you and you don't even know it. Like you are playing a game that you don't even know you're playing. But when you know what you're doing, when you understand the theme you're working within, it magnifies it 20, like, it's just being conscious to it. right? Like when you're conscious to something, when you're aware of something, you can engage with it so much more fully, intentionally, with so much more capability. Like you're just more informed and equipped. And I think that's the thing that I love about numerology, and the thing I love about doing what I just did to you right now, which is like, let me rip you to shreds for a second, because you didn't even know. And what I mean by that actually is like, Amelia, look at how intuitive you are. Look at how connected you are. Like there are things that the universe is asking of you that like, there's like this signal that's being like emitted from within you, and you're fucking listening and acting on it. You're so in the flow that you're right on schedule. Like, wow. Are you kidding me? Like that's what alignment feels like. That's what flow feels like. That's why it looks so good on you. That's why it's working so well. Like that's why. And I think like to know that would make you feel so much better about how it's going than not to.
It's so true. And guys, you got to go and read your numerology horoscopes, because a couple things that came through, two materialistic things, as you spoke about how the 3 is the number of the star. My fucking microphone is a star, and I got stars tattooed on my hand the other week. So yes. Stars are definitely present. And then the other thing was like, whoa, there's a difference between understanding the assignment and accepting it. And I think in some ways I was understanding and I don't know what's first, the chicken or the egg, like what's supposed to be first, but I was understanding that there was something happening this year for me. But you saying that, I'm accepting it, because it is in my numerological. Yeah. Is that what? Yeah. Numerological DNA. Yeah. and
yes.
Now I can accept it with this information.
Yes. Like think about, so I went to the planetarium when we were in New York. And by the way, I was super fucking high and had a panic attack. So I don't it was short lived, but like, I was like, it's too dark in here. I'm in a coffin. Like, and then the ceiling started moving and I was like, I'm spinning. I was, you know what? No. Like it took me a second. I went from having a panic attack to being like super duper emotional, where I was like, we're all just dust from stars bumping into each other. Like it's you know, like just understanding like the actual like frivolity of like all the things that we do. And like also like the gravity with which we take it is just bizarre. Like when you zoom out that level, it's kind of intense. But all of that to say, like the atoms that formed into you collided in time and reality at a very specific point. And numerology just helps you understand like the flow of the direction of that energy. It's like, where is your energy moving? You know, like I don't know. You've seen Donnie Darko, I'm sure.
You know, I've actually not.
Amelia, get off the show. Get off the show.
Dude, and I've seen so many clips and I know all about it. I've just not seen it. I know.
I don't know if this is legal. Mike, if this is legal, can you do me a favor and like insert a clip of a YouTube video? Can we do that?
I think it'll flag you as like copyright.
Legal. But what if we credit it or something? Or we say like that part of it is in our... Mike, let's explore this. I want to know if you know the answer to this, because there's a scene in Donnie Darko where he's sitting on the couch and he sees like this...
Oh, I've like seen this clip.
Trail, like a trail of energy coming from the people around him. And like, it's like it's stretched out ahead of them. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's actually evidence of where they're going. And then he notices his own and follows it to something that I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but like he follows it and it doesn't end up that great. I don't really like where his goes, but that's just a movie, right? Okay. We're talking about real life. Like when you can feel and just see that thread that's moving in front of you, you don't have to be able to see all of it. You just have to be able to see enough of it that you know where to move next. Mm-hmm. And like that, I think is one of the tools of numerology for me is it's like, it helps me understand where that flow, where that like line of energy that I'm following is moving toward. For anyone that plays Harry Potter, the Hogwarts Legacy video game, which I played a lot of, and fuck you if you think that's stupid. I don't care. I'm a grown adult that plays Harry Potter video games. There's this thing you can do if you're bad at video games like me, where you can turn on like a setting that shows you exactly how to get from where you are to where you're going. And it's like that. It's exactly like, it's like a golden thread of energy. It's like, yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. Like that is what intuition feels like. And when you use your intuition and your numerology in coherence with one another, you're literally unstoppable. Like it's the coolest thing in the world. Now, granted, you may experience what I'm sort of experiencing currently, which is like the assignment lands and you're like, me? Like, are you sure? Like, I don't think I can do that. And guess what? You can. Otherwise, it wouldn't have arrived at your doorstep. And all you have to do is follow the threads in front of you, whether that's astrology, numerology, but most of all, and most importantly, your own intuitive sense. Like, you actually can do whatever's being asked of you, even when you hit the moment of reality where you hit the edge of your belief in yourself. So this is a great time for us to be exploring all of these themes as it pertains to relationships, home, family, obligation, responsibility, love, romance, all of those things. Like, it's time for us to explore, like, where does our truth take us amidst those themes that often have to do with like how we bend and break and capitulate to serve others. And like, how is your intuition asking you to serve yourself right now? Bada bing.
One mini challenge for listeners is, just given this conversation, like, comment or send or whatever, put somewhere what your energy is like this month, like what you've been feeling, because I want you to consciously return to it next month. Because I'm listening to this and I'm like, oh shit, I really want to come back to this whole conversation in a month's time and just see what has played out.
Yes. And I think that's the beauty of these conversations, is like, we do get to reflect on where we just were. And I think it's important to do that. Like, obviously we're looking ahead, but again, with consciousness, when you can look back at something, you can really experience it more with just more like true understanding. Like, consciousness is to really see something for what it is, whatever it is, to see it truly. And so when we just take a moment at the edge of something new to look back and be like, okay, got it. That really serves you, because everything that you absorb, you get to take with you. You don't like leave it in April. Like, you bring that new understanding, awareness, maturity, whatever with you into May. And that is what turns a 1 to a 9. That's what turns us from infants just learning how to walk into, fully fledged and formed beings. It's like we learn something and then we continue to use that skill, right? And sometimes we have to examine, what have I learned that's not serving me? Like what I was saying before about like what I've absorbed from patriarchy about turning 35. It's like, actually, what the literal fuck? Like, no, thank you. And how dare you feed that to me? Like, how dare you put that in my, like, how dare you ask me to consume that? You know what I mean? So this is a great time to explore, like, what have you consumed that you're not happy with? That's the gift that numerology has for us. So I really love that. You know what? I'm feeling inspired to do something. We did not plan this, but if you guys want a yearly report, this is only for podcast listeners. When you use code POD, P-O-D, you're going to save 10% off of a numerology report for this year, and we'll run it from May to May. So if you order it in the month of May, you'll get into the first 5 months of next year. We're going to give you a whole year because I love you, and why not? Why not? So this is only for podcast listeners. Don't tell your friends, but there's a couple different reports you can get. You can get your yearly report. You could get a report to explore your compatibility with somebody. Pretty cool. Or you could get a report to understand like your deeper character. Like, it runs through like your being, almost like your birth chart, so to speak. So that would be a personal report. So we've got yearly reports, compatibility, and personal reports. And since you guys are so cool, when you order one, your next one will be discounted. So on top of your pod discount that we're giving you. So get over there to zoegreco.com and get your reports. And we're so excited about that. Amelia, I feel like the energy has found near its completion. Do you have any other thoughts, feelings, or questions for me or listeners?
No, I just feel so good about this. Like last weekend was when I had like the financial hits and the very like 3D adulting shit that came through, and I'm on day 2 of my period. So I think that
me too. I love that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because this time last month, I was like, I'm PMSing because I traveled and it's like fucked with my periods. They're back and synced up. So I was feeling a bit like meh. But this conversation has truly kicked me in the ass in the best way. What about you?
I want to pull back the curtain for just a second, because I really love the idea that, like, I really just love the idea of the show being as honest as possible. So this is our second time recording an episode like this together. And I feel like I'm so excited about what it's becoming. Like, this episode feels so good to me. Like, if someone was like, hey, Zoe, what kind of show do you want to make? I want to make this kind of show. Like, this is what I want to make. And the fact that we're doing it, and there's just so much like beauty and synergy here, like, I want to just speak out to listeners like, yeah, we're trying something new. And I personally think it's fucking working, and I'm having a great time. So I hope you're having a great time, listeners. Amelia, I hope you're having the best time of all. And it feels good. Like, I'm inside the experience in this moment, and I'm like, yeah, I love being in this experience. Like, this is what I want for my life. And so it's just cool to be in it. And I'm excited that it's working.
It's so good getting to do this with someone who has become such a good friend to me, and I just admire everything you do, and being able to, like, it's like carving out this time to go into the spiritual stuff, because sometimes, like, I'm a spiritual person, but I'm living more in the 3D these days, and like these conversations happen maybe once or twice a week. So having this time with you once a month to really go in, it's like really massaging my spiritual aura to do it. I love it. While also keeping it fun and light and not too serious.
I feel like this is the new thing, like the new soapbox that I'm going to be standing on, is like, everything is just fucking made up. Like, and if you don't like get that, you're going to be miserable. Like, if you're operating off the idea that like the structure of society as it stands is like in full, like truly something that you have to trust and like blindly follow, man, I feel bad for you. Like, you can make whatever reality you want. Like, I said this morning to one of my mentees, I was like, I love seeing your life as your creation. And I was like, life is your creation. Come on, Barbie, let's go party. Yeah. And it's so true. Like, come on, Barbie, let's go party. Like, let's make our life. Like, let's make our lives what we want them. And if you're not making your life what you want it, come talk to me. I'll help you do it, because you deserve for it to be what you want it to be. And like, that is the hill that I feel like I'm dying on right now, is just like, I look around and I'm like, why the fuck are we adhering to these things, doing these things? And I'm feeling the rebellion of the collective year one, where it's like, let's fuck it up, baby. Let's change the game. Let's make something new. Fuck this shit. Fuck patriarchy. Like, I want matriarchy. Like, I want humanity. And I'm just really feeling like, yeah, we're not going to get the new stuff through the old rules and the old ways. So anybody out there who's like still doing it the man's way, and by that I mean like the man, you know, patriarchy, like, let's stop. And if you want to dive into that more, just come talk to me. Come to Pajama Party, third Thursday of the month. Send your questions if you have specific questions to zoegreco.com/hotline. Like, this show is literally revolves around you guys. So come have conversations. Let's engage in a dialogue here. And more than anything, let's connect. Like, let's be together in this world, co-creating together. The one is unifying. It's not just singularity. It's also unity, right? We are one. So the more that we can focus on connection in this year, we are laying groundwork for like the new world together. And it starts right here on the Higher Self Hotline, where you send your questions in and I answer them for you. So I want you guys to know I love you and I care about you. And I'm so grateful that you tune in with us week after week, month after month, year after year. So many of you guys are kind of like OGs, which is really cool. And if you're not, we still love you just as much. Like, welcome to our club. Welcome to our party. We're happy to have you here. Any final words for the people, Amelia?
No. I just love the come on, Barbie, let's go party. I think that's a great way to end it.
Thank you so much. And honestly, yeah, come on, Barbie, let's go party. Well, there you have it, listeners. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. And remember, we would love to hear from you. Go and send your questions over to zoegreco.com/hotline for me and Amelia. If you have questions specifically for Amelia about, how she's navigating singledom, how she's living, the life abroad, like if you want to just know more about her, like we could do an AMA episode that's just like ask Amelia anything. So it'd be AAA, ask Amelia anything so that listeners can get to know you. So if you guys have questions for Amelia, about Amelia, send those in too. Same place, zoegreco.com/hotline. And of course, I want to conclude by reminding you that you are important. You matter, and you are perfect exactly as you are. I love you. Your spirit guides love you. Amelia loves you, and the universe loves you. So until next time, keep answering the call of your higher self. Bye, friends.